Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Liverpool, and we'll start off with Stanley at Sky, please.
Hiya, you all right? Hiya.
Hiya. You said you had 4 days to work with your team before the win against Arsenal.
Excuse me.
A week now. How have you found the squad this week? What more have you learned from them?
Good. They've been very open, I think, which is important. The honesty through their work on the training pitch has been great. And sort of just getting used to us as a staff, as people, not just the training plan and how we go about our business, but also just as people. So obviously I think a performance at a win helps and sort of maybe fast track some of that. But they've been very good. And the staff as well, not just the players, by the way.
And you mentioned the mood must be good amongst the players. Could it be a better time to play Liverpool given their results recently?
Well, you can't guarantee that. Derby game, big game, obviously, no experience for me. But I think we're in. Well, certainly on that performance, it's like I said, everyone's on sort of top of the feel of it at the minute. Everyone's on what we're doing, the detail, the appreciation of each other is good. Us as a staff, them as players, and the connection. But it's a derby game, so we know that the form somewhat goes out the window. I think we all, it's the old adage, but. The feel of the game can sometimes affect the game. We're really looking for a performance again. Against Arsenal, I said last weekend it was fantastic to get a win, but I was really looking for a reaction, a reaction and a performance. And I think we're still laying that down. Can we give another performance on the back of a good one last week?
If I could take you back to January 2021, you had a bit of a coming together with Jurgen Klopp. You've had a couple in the past. Are you ready to renew that rivalry? How are you feeling ahead of seeing Jurgen Klopp?
There's no renewing it. It's just, two managers playing against each other's teams, and there was nothing in that. He felt that, my coat wasn't good like John McGinn did, and he mentioned it. And I said, you weren't the first to get there. John's already referenced my coat, so that one cleared that up. But no, we were just... Look, I think fans don't mind that. I think they want to see two managers for their teams, for their clubs, standing up. And then after the game, it's gone. For me, it's done. That's it, end of. And that used to be a more regular occurrence in football, maybe not so much now, but it used to be nothing. It meant nothing. And it makes a story. Nothing other than both of us standing up for our relevant situations at that time.
You mentioned coats. I know you've been asked about this before as well.
Are you really going to ask me a coat question?
I'll ask you a snood question.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, I don't let them wear snoods. Is that the answer you're looking for?
And hats as well. What can you
explain
a little bit more about?
Yeah, I can. The rules of the game state you can't wear either. In a game, in an actual match. Just logic.
Okay. Dominic Calvert Lewin, could you give us the latest on him? He went off against Arsenal. How's he doing at the moment?
Yeah, we're still monitoring him. It'd be touch and go at best, I think, for the Liverpool game. So we'll just have to monitor it and hope that it settles down sooner rather than later. He's had a couple of niggly injuries, which you'd know. Getting on top of them, getting his body to adapt, and all them things, for the longer term, obviously. And he put a real shift in. His stats were very good in the last game, and unfortunately he's just got a niggly hamstring. We've got to get on top of it as quick as we can.
Do you think he'll be back in time for Monday?
We'll see. Like I say, it's touch and go at best, I would say.
You talked about not wanting to bring any other players into the squad you've got. It's already good enough. Looking at the free transfer front, Isco, and you've been asked about him before as well. Any sign of him potentially coming to the club as well?
Well, I actually spoke about the idea of looking at the squad, not deciding whether it's good enough or not, just looking at it and working with the squad that we've got as a reminder, if you like. So there are some very good players here. Players outside of that, we'd monitor their situations as we do, and then we'll make a decision in due course. But at the moment, we're working with the squad that we've got.
And finally, big news off the field this week has been about Manchester City. As a manager who's managing, Burnley doing so well during the period where City were winning titles and doing so well. If the allegations that the Premier League have put to them come out to be true, how would you feel about that?
There is people in a way more powerful position to deal with this thing than me. It's nothing to do with me. I'm just focusing on Everton Football Club and what we have to do here.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. We'll go to Fraser at Premier League Productions.
Sean, good to see you. You mentioned when you first arrived about wanting to make sure that the players play with pride and passion in the shirt and in the badge. This is the ultimate test of that, I guess, is it?
Well, it certainly is a test of it. The ultimate, in theory, we're hoping to get to a point when every game's a feel that is right for the performance. But obviously, I know about the history of the game. I haven't witnessed it myself, but I will be doing shortly. Looking forward to that. But yeah, the City comes together for a massive game. all of that. But at the end of the day, like I said, that my key marker has always been performance levels. So I'll be really focusing on the planning for that, and kind of parking the noise around it, because you have to. That's our job, is to focus on the performance and not kind of get any of the noise affect our build-up and affect our planning. We want to keep the players' minds on the game and our performance. So I think that'll be key to it, from our point of view, of course.
What do you make of what's going on at Liverpool at the moment? There's a bit of a crisis of confidence going on there.
Well, I mean, they've pretty much been on the up for a long time, and it's very difficult to constantly remodel, rethink, re-energise, bring all the detailed performances over many, many years, and they've done that very well, obviously. The law, not the law, but the way football works, it's very difficult to constantly just keep achieving all the time. Maybe they just having one of them spells, when it changes. I don't know, it'll yet to be seen. I haven't been up close and personal with them, but they've still got some very good players. So I certainly won't be overthinking their form, because I know what good players they've got. They've, quite a very experienced group in many ways, and the manager certainly is. So, like I say, that has to get parked really. Having a tough little spell, up and down time. But like I say, that it's rare that teams don't have that at some point. Over a long tenure, like Jurgen Klopp's been there.
And in terms of having got that first win against Arsenal last week, given the position that the club have been in beforehand, surely it means that if you've got some belief there that you can go out and beat the top team in the league, then there is that belief there that you'll be able to repeat that and slowly but surely pull yourself out of the relegation fight. Are you seeing that?
Well, there's plenty of belief in what we do. There's plenty of belief in the players and what they want to do as individuals. I shared last week, we spoke to them about it, some of their feedback, some of the introduction of new ideas. But it's actually taking action, that's the big thing for me. We can all talk and we've all got ideas, and you in the media, me as a manager, we can all get it right when we're talking about it. It's taking action, the whistle blows, you've got to take action, you've got to perform. So the last one doesn't guarantee the next one. So I've been saying that for years. It's something I believed in as a player. I didn't, as an individual player, I didn't think that playing well, this week was guaranteeing the next performance. So I think there's a lot of detail gone in this week, a lot of planning gone in this week. The players have been very receptive, but they're aware, we've got to go again, and that's going to be constant mentality through the rest of the season.
Thanks, Fraser. We'll go to Shamoon at the BBC.
Hiya.
In your short time here, what have you learned? Have you learned anything new about the city? We all know about what passion that they have. Is there something you've learned that you weren't aware of before?
To be honest, I haven't had a chance. I've more or less been here constantly, because what you've got to remember, we're trying to cram in a lot of work, and I did reference it last week, so forgive me, but you're trying to cram in, if in an ideal world, if you imagine you go in during pre-season or whatever, you get 5-6 weeks, start leaking your ideas in, etc. We're cramming a lot in. So myself and the staff that I've brought, and some of the staff have been working tirelessly here with us and staying here late while we're planning and getting the analytics how we'd like it, and the sports science and aligning things and all that. It takes a long time. So I haven't actually had much time to do anything other than get that done and pop back and see family and then come back up and get on with it. So,
as a manager of Everton, and what are your feelings on Liverpool's struggles? Are you sort of pleased that they're not doing so well? Or
my feelings are my focus on Everton Football Club. That's what I've been brought to do. Focus on Everton Football Club. Make sure that we're right without worrying about anyone else. That is absolutely my focus.
Do you have sympathy for Klopp and what he's going through?
There's no sympathy in football, it's empathy. As a manager, you have an understanding of others. He certainly doesn't want or need my sympathy, trust me. Someone as experienced as him and what he's done in the game. He doesn't need sympathy from anyone. But I think as a manager, you empathise, we understand each other's roles. No matter what level you're at in football, I always say I have total respect for all managers because it's a very difficult job. No matter what level of football you're at, it's very difficult. So certainly there's an understanding and a shared feeling. I've been through it myself when things are not always, as you wish them to be. But no, he certainly, I'm pretty sure he doesn't need my sympathy.
And easily, as long as serving manager, you still expect him to be there next season if their struggles continue?
If
their struggles continue,
that's nothing to do with me. That's entirely to do with Liverpool Football Club. Nothing to do with me.
Thanks, Shamoon. We'll go to James at Radio Merseyside.
Sure.
Hey.
Just on Dominic Calvert Lewin, you've said about you need to bear in mind the long term. So how do you handle him with that in mind, and how confident are you that we can see that the Dominic Calvert Lewin that was playing so well a year or so ago?
Well, I think he's had a fair few ups and downs with injuries. I've spoke to him about it and how we want to correct that or play our part in correcting it, because obviously it's not, the human body, it reacts to many different things, and trying to align him with the right things that we think will give him an overall strength, not just the injured areas that he's had, but obviously his whole fitness, if you like, and his whole fitness and well-being. So I've spoken to him about that. We're hoping this is just a blip at the start point of that journey to get him to where he was, what seems like long ago, but it wasn't really. It was quite a short time ago. And I think he's got a nice desire to get back there, and he was showing that in the Arsenal performance. He looked sharp, he was being effective, had a couple of chances, and showed what a good player he is. So it's just about trying to work in a way that is going to suit him to get almost like, it's a silly saying, but almost like overfit. When your body's just so fit, so strong, it just, you can go out there and just play with freedom. And I don't think he's quite been there. I think, but he's been sort of in, desperate to play, come out again, desperate to play, come out again. So we've got to try and find the right lines whilst working with him. It's mid-season, it's not pre-season. So now we're going to work with him as he's progressing and getting stronger, but also kind of protect him the best we can. With a lot of players, but mainly him because of the obvious recent history with his injuries.
And apart from Dominic, is anyone else likely to be back from the injured contingent?
We're okay at the minute. A few knocks and bruises, but nothing too major. So we're okay. I think he's the most prominent figure who like I say, is probably touch and go at best, I would say.
Is Michael Keane too far away?
Yeah, he's just been. I spoke to him last week about his getting his true fitness. We had a behind closed doors game in the week, which was really valuable for us as a staff and for the players to lock in some minutes. And I think he just needs that in the training. He knows how we've changed, obviously, from when he was last with us. But he knows roughly how we work and the expectation we've got of the players physically. And he's looking to adapt towards that. But he certainly looked sharp the other day and sharper. And he knows there's a depth to his fitness that still needs to improve. But he's working hard.
And just generally on the Merseyside derby, I appreciate you've not experienced one firsthand before, but what have been your impressions on the game from the outside?
Well, like a bigger version of all derbies across the country, small clubs, big clubs. I've played in a few myself at smaller clubs, obviously. Burnley versus Blackburn is a big one, not as big a volume of fans, but a really meaningful game. So I've experienced it, but obviously I'm looking forward to this because of the size of it, the city mentality, the two clubs, etc., etc. I grew up through the sort of 70s, 80s, knowing about the game, knowing about the historical games, 84s, 85s or 86, around that time, Liverpool, Everton and all that sort of stuff. And also, I don't imagine it happens now, but finals when the two fans were combined, I was telling my lad about that the other day, a stadium full of a combination of supporters sitting next to each other, and that kind of feel, even though it meant a lot, there's still that shared kind of, respect or whatever. It probably changed a bit now, I would imagine, the way life is. But, I certainly know and have an awareness of the games between the two, but I'm certainly looking forward on behalf of myself, the team and Everton Football Club to take on the next challenge, which is against them, obviously.
Thanks, James. We'll go to Carl at the Press Association.
Hi, Sean.
Hiya.
If Calvert Lewin is absent or when he's absent, how much does the game plan change for you?
We adapt to the players that we work with. I think the obvious to Simsy and Neil, their chance of playing if Calvin's not right. We can't be risking too much at this stage with him equally. Got to find that right balance to get him totally fit, as I was just suggesting. Different ways that the team can operate. But you don't, look, it's nirvana for most managers. I'm a manager. I don't look at one player to try and win games. It's got to be a team collective, to win games. You defend as a team, you score as a team. That's what I believe. So it's not about one player. He's a good player, but it's not about one player. So it's more about the adaptation of the players and a great opportunity. Whoever plays next, don't forget, it's a great opportunity for them. What a game to be stepping into if he's not right. What a game. So therefore you go, right, get ready. Be ready to take it on.
And Liverpool look as vulnerable as they have done for a long time. Conceding early goals, not being able to come back, conceding set pieces. That's obviously something you'll look to try and exploit.
Well, you want to exploit everything in a game of football, any chance that you get. Everything's important in a game of football, no matter who you're playing against. I've certainly been doing a lot of work with the players here, on all that feel. Big saying for me was no disappointments. Whatever happens in the game, it's the reaction. We have to take it on, be proactive in what we do. So, like I say, it's not about one thing that a team might be not getting right. It's about all of it. Can we be better than them? Can we play better than them? Can we perform better than them once the whistle blows? I'm big on that. So I spoke to the players, not just about the Liverpool game, I mean about the way that we work to try and build that kind of automatic behaviour all the time. Thank you.
Further questions in the open
Excuse me.
section before we move on to the Sunday papers? No? Okay. Thank